بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إخواني أخواتي، أسعد الله أوقاتكم أينما كنتم. اليوم عندي ضيف سوف أحاوره بالإنجليزية، وهذا الضيف هو مرشح للكونغريس الأمريكي. وفي هذا اللقاء هذا اللي سجلت معه، عندي لكم مفاجأة، أننا على الأقل نقدروا نقولوا بأن إذا فاز هذا السيد هذا وأصبح عضو في الكونغرس الأمريكي، فهو سوف يدعم موقف الولايات المتحدة، ويدعم موقف الرئيس دونالد ترامب، وموقف أمريكا عموما حيال مغربية الصحراء. لنشاهد هذا اللقاء. We have Mr. VanMeter here to answer a couple of questions and to address the concerns of his constituency. Mr. Mike, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, first, I would like to have you to let you introduce yourself to the public, although they know you now from your campaign.
Well, thank you. My name is Mike VanMeter, and I do live in the 11th District in Northern Virginia. And like you mentioned, for those that aren't familiar with my background, I did start out my career as a Navy helicopter pilot. I did that for 8 years. But I'd always wanted to go into law enforcement. So I became a police officer initially in Washington, D.C., did that for several years. And then I went into the FBI. I spent just under 21 years in the FBI as an agent. I retired as a supervisor. And at the end of my career, I was teaching at the FBI Academy. And I currently work as an addictions therapist now. But I decided to run for Congress because of the concerns that I have about the future of this nation. Particularly, of course, there's many, many issues you have to deal with in Congress. But one of them, first and foremost, is addiction and mental health. As you know, Mohammed, deaths from fentanyl, just fentanyl, forget about all the other drugs, but just fentanyl is the #1 killer of people between the ages of 18 and 49. We have about 110,000 people per year die just from fentanyl. That's almost twice the number of people that died in the Vietnam conflict over 10 years. So it's very, very important. And that's something for the Moroccan community that lives in Northern Virginia. It is something that every family is concerned with and something that we need to deal with. And my opponent has actually contributed to the problem. So it's important that we deal with that issue.
Mr. Mike VanMeter, well, now we're going to touch on an issue that is a big concern for the Moroccan community in the United States and the Moroccan community all over the world, and even all Moroccans around the globe, which is the territorial integrity and the games and the group trying to divide Morocco, led by Algeria and its group Polisario. They made a group called Polisario, and they tried to divide Morocco. Former President Donald Trump, in his last week in office, did issue a recognition, an official recognition, U.S. recognition of Morocco's sovereignty over the Sahara, all its territories. And it was well received, very well welcomed by the Moroccan people. If elected to Congress, what would you do in this matter?
Oh, I absolutely support Donald Trump in this area. You got to remember, Mohammed, we have a unique situation right now. We have two candidates, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Both have been in office for 4 years. Now, I do not believe that in U.S. history that's ever happened. Certainly not in my lifetime, but I don't believe in U.S. history we've had a situation where we've had candidates that you can look at the fact that they were in office for 4 years and look at what they did and then decide where they're going to go from there. All right. You have the Democrats talking about how Donald Trump's going to be a dictator. Donald Trump's going to do this. He's going to do that. The fact is, we know what Donald Trump is. We know what he did for 4 years. And we know that the world was a much safer place. Everybody, it was a much safer place. There's no question about that. He didn't get us into more conflicts. One of the ways that he did that was he recognized the independence and sovereignty of other nations, to include Morocco, but others as well. And he understands that.
And by the way, Mr. Meter, do you know that Morocco was the first country to recognize the independence of the United States of America ever? The first country?
I actually did not know that.
Well,
I did
that's
not know that.
that's a
That's
tip I'm giving
fantastic.
you.
Yeah.
Morocco
Well,
is the first nation to recognize the independence of the United States of America since 1777.
yep. Well, that's fantastic. But you know, it is in our listen, I'm running for United States Congress. And when we look at geopolitically around the world, right? It is absolutely in the best interest of the United States that other countries, our allies, have independence, they have funding, they have strong militaries, they have stability in their governments, because that's in the United States' best interest. And that was what Donald Trump was doing. And the Moroccan people, particularly the Moroccans that live here in the United States in Northern Virginia, you need to understand that Kamala Harris is going to be a disaster. Donald Trump, on the other hand, understands the geopolitical structure of the world and how all this independence, particularly with Morocco, in that region of the world, is in our best interest. So it's a mutual best interest. And under no circumstances should the Moroccan people be voting for Kamala Harris.
And that's why we are trying to let you know, deliver your message. My last question to you will be related to immigration. Kamala Harris and Joseph Biden did what they did in immigration, and we all know their record on that matter. If elected to Congress, would you support a family union in a lawful mean?
Yeah, listen, I'm going to address this family issue right off the bat. The people that separated families, that split families up, started under the Biden administration and continued under under the Obama administration, rather, and then continued under the Biden administration. And listen, I'm a former FBI agent, and I worked many border issues. We absolutely want to keep families together, but what you see, what the Democrats are talking about right now, is there's a lot of human trafficking that's going on. I work in a hospital. I see women that are exploited. I see children that are sexually exploited, and the women multiple times. Children are being trafficked, and just because somebody comes across the border does not mean that they're a family. We know for a fact that many of the children that are coming across the border are actually being brought over by what they call coyotes, the people that are bringing them. We will keep people together. Now, we need to fix immigration in the United States. We need to make it efficient. We need to make it accurate. We need to do that. But we must be able to screen the people that come across our borders, because we want to keep gang members, human traffickers, terrorists, spies out of our country. Every country on earth does that, and the United States should do that for our safety and our security. But when it comes to families, we absolutely will keep them together. By the way, we have several 100,000 children that have gone missing in the United States. That is the Biden administration. That is Harris that has done that. And Donald Trump and I are going to fix that. And we're going to reunite these kids with their families. It is despicable what this administration has done.
Thank you. That was Mike VanMeter, candidate for the 11th district in the state of Virginia. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us, and good luck in your campaign.
Thank you. It's always good to see you, Mohammed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mike. Bye-bye.
طيب، شكرا جزيلا إخواني أخواتي على تتبعكم هذا اللقاء. كنشكركم على الدعم وعلى التعليقات، وعلى وانتم كتشكروا، وانتم كتسلموا، وانتم كتدعموني. أنا كذلك كنقول لكم بأن احنا كذلك معكم. لماذا؟ لأن أنا وانتم وجميع المغاربة في معركة واحدة. احنا عائلة واحدة، أخوة من أسرة واحدة، هدفها واحد، وهو الدفاع عن الوحدة الترابية ديال بلادنا. مرة أخرى كنطلب منكم باش تواصلوا هذا الدعم، باش تواصلوا توزيع الفيديوهات لتصل إلى أكبر عدد من الناس لكي نحقق هذا الهدف. وكذلك ادعموا غيري، الفيديوهات اللي كيقوموا بها غيري في الدفاع عن الوحدة الترابية. ماشي بالضروره غير الفيديوهات ديالي، وانا ملي كنطلب منكم تدعموا كنطلب منكم تدعموا القضيه، دعموا الفيديوهات السوشيال ميديا التي تدعم وتدافع عن الوحده الترابيه المغربيه. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله والى اللقاء.